actually been meaning to make a post about this, so thank you for asking. Hit that ×2 because I'm about to get deep with this, okay? Back in the day when I was a baby leftist, I used to see Black elders in the community always go out of their way to not identify as leftist. And when I was in my 20s, I never thought too deep into it because I had a million other things going on, right? But this was something that I consistently noticed, that Black elders, especially women, especially Black women elders, would make it a point to be clear that they did not consider themselves leftists. And I thought it was confusing because from my perspective, they held leftist values. So why were they not, why were they so hell-bent on not being identified as leftists? But I never thought much deeper than that. Fast forward to 2025. After this election season and all that we've experienced with these online so-called never Kamala leftists, I understood clear as motherfucking day why those elders refuse to identify themselves as leftists. I understand clear as day. The lesson I learned is that Black people are not safe in leftist spaces. After witnessing all of the anti-Blackness from the leftist community online, it made 100% sense why they were refusing to do that. Leftism is not a safe space for Black people. So that's one of the reasons why, I'm not necessarily no longer a leftist, if you will, but I don't want to be labeled as a leftist. I don't want to necessarily be associated with that because it needs to evolve and develop past anti-Blackness before I fully embrace the label as I once did. That's number one. Number two, one of the flaws that I have seen with leftism since I've been scrutinizing it from a different lens, a more mature lens, because I'm older now, also a decentering men lens. Coming at it from those perspectives, I now feel like the fatal flaw of leftism is the fact that it is a system, an ideology, and I'm including socialism, I'm including communism. I'm kind of doing like an umbrella here because we don't have the time to go into each and everything. But, the fatal flaw with these ideologies is that they were created by white men. And when have white men ever collectively given a damn about the human population? When have white men ever historically and collectively shown that they are the people we should look to for community building and organizing society? If your ideology is not holding Black women, especially, but women in general, but Black women, Indigenous women, Black people, Indigenous people, if your ideology is not upholding folks like that and their perspectives and their philosophies, then I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear about organizing society from the group of people who are literally the cause of the society collapsing. I don't want to hear about how we should organize society and build community from the people who are descendant of the genocidal, sociopathic, narcissistic, psychopathic murderers, thieves, and rapists who have created a system that honors those same ideals. I don't want to hear anything from the people who have not examined how being born and raised into that system and descended from that ideology has impacted them and their biases. I don't want to hear about community building from those people. I want to hear about community building from the women, the people who know how to build community, the people who understand that community means taking care of the most vulnerable first. One other shortcoming of the leftist ideology that I see is that it's limiting. It puts you in a box. That's the beef that we've been seeing on this internet. that the leftists who are in the leftist box are mad at the leftists who don't want to be forced into a box. The purity politics. Labels are important, but they should never be limiting. When they start to become limiting, it becomes a problem. And leftism, the modern version of leftism that we have today, was created in direct opposition to capitalism. Capitalism is not a natural organization system for society. That did not occur organically. So we are focused on a system, leftism, that is counter or anti an inorganic system to begin with. If we remove capitalism, where does leftism go? And again, that goes back to the limitation, right? There's so much more to the world than capitalism and not capitalism. And when you lock yourself into the box of a label, then you can't see outside of those paradigms. So when we want to talk about things like creating matriarchies, bringing the matriarchy back, it's like, how does that fit in the anti-capitalist paradigm? It doesn't. It doesn't. It's outside of that paradigm and any other organizing principles that we might have for society. So I say all that to say that, let me be clear. I'm not necessarily like, I'm not a leftist anymore. It's not necessarily that. I've never been one to hold myself to labels. I'm too expansive to lock myself into a box. I still share and uphold anti-capitalist ideals. No questions asked. I still share leftist sentiments. Where I deviate is what I've explained here in this already long post. And I believe in coalition building. I believe if I can't get everything, I would rather get something than nothing. And if getting something means that I have to build a coalition with people that don't agree with me on everything, then I'm going to build that fucking coalition so we can get one step closer to what the fuck I'm trying to fully achieve. So, call me a leftist, don't call me a leftist. Call me, if anything, I would say, if I had to put a label on myself, I'd call myself a matriarchalist moving forward. I'm looking at matriarchy for the future. I'm looking at women in leadership because this patriarchy is what is screwing us. Letting men create systems, men who are obsessed with hierarchy, men who are obsessed with power and money, like letting them lead the whole, like that shit is crazy. And you can see the effects of that right now. So I would say I'm in community with whoever the fuck wants to be in community with me, who is not anti-black and who is not willing to put marginalized people in jeopardy for principles based on the white male capitalist patriarchal imagination.